Mr. Wallace, and thank you, each of you, for your contributions this morning. I want to thank you, Mr. Gruneau, for the discussion about the energy audits and the rebates that have allowed for, I think, some significant differences, not only in people's homes, but when we think about the audits for some of our public buildings. I had an opportunity at AFN this year to focus on some of the ways that we're pioneering with some of the efficiencies, and I mentioned little things like an energy audit that HUNA underwent, and they realized that by changing out the lights on the docks and then at their little public swimming pool, they could save tens of thousands of dollars. Craig, they did a simple walkthrough of the little hotel there and the savings that then they realize. And when you think about communities like that are really operating on the margin, $10,000 means a lot to them, and particularly a small little hotel that may be somewhat seasonal. So I think about the advantages that gives. You mentioned healthy homes, and I think that this is something that, well, we're focused on cost savings that efficiency brings. We've been talking a lot in this building this year about healthcare and healthcare costs and some of the drivers. And there was a study that came out not too many months back about health statistics with Alaska children, and you mentioned respiratory disease amongst young children, particularly in our villages. We have the highest rate of infant pneumonia, and so much of this is attributable back to the home and the fact that you have homes that are not adequately ventilated, that in an effort to stop the leakage of the heat escaping, you plug every exit, and thus you trap in just the bad stuff. And if you're living in a small house where you've got a couple bedrooms and 8 people living in the home, 10 people living in the home, it's also the garage. So you might have somebody working on the outboard engine in the living room, and you've got fumes that are coming off. It is a reality that we face that we don't think about. So I want you to just speak just a moment here to this aspect of healthy homes, because again, I think we don't understand how efficiency can actually allow the homes to be healthier for our families.
Well, thank you for the question, and I'd like to add to your example. It's not just energy efficiency, it's energy efficiency based on sound building science. So after the pipeline boom, a lot of the folks who came up here from the pipeline came from the Midwest, and they built houses like they knew in the Midwest, right? 2x4 type construction. And when the price of energy was inexpensive, it wasn't a big deal. But when the price of energy went up, then people started really feeling the crunch. And so people took took matters into their own hands and would take maybe 1 or 2 inches of foam and put it on the outside of the house. Now, what happens now is that any moisture that's generated in the house no longer has an escape path. Now it's trapped in the walls, and so now you're generating mold, allowing mold to grow. It creates rot, and mold also inhibits our health. So there's that part. The ventilation thing is the ventilation and overcrowding is just a key issue that I think can be addressed when people understand the importance of ventilation, importance of these systems, importance of building properly, taking these energy retrofits properly. So the example you gave with regard to the plugging up the holes, I mean, if you're paying $8 a gallon for heating oil, you're going to save money any way you can. And so people feel cold air come in, and they're just going to plug it in, and they think that's what's helping them. What things that can happen, of course, is if someone turns on their dryer, now you're depressurizing the house. You can pull in exhaust gases from your boiler, and now you've got carbon monoxide issues. Now you end up, there's some headline about this family that ends up in the hospital or worse. How do we address it? I mean, first thing we do is we try to go and inform the public, but when we go to each of these projects, just have this conversation with them. I mean, the resources are here, and they're available, and for us, it's a matter of outreach and having these communications.
A lot of education. Let me go.